All right. You're listening to Nola County. I'm your host, Jimmy Palacios. And of course, Nola County is proudly produced here in the Crescent City, here in the heart of the Crescent City, here in beautiful Mid-City, New Orleans. Super stoked today to be speaking with friend Charlie Marie, who here in 2026 has a fantastic album. It's called Signs. It's 11 amazing tracks and several singles we've been playing here on Nola County Radio. The whole album is out now. One of the places you can go ahead and find this amazing album is Charlie's Bandcamp at charliemarie.bandcamp.com. And you could find out everything Charlie's up to on her webpage there at charliemarie music.com. And just so stoked to have Charlie here back on Nola County Radio. Charlie, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. And thanks again, Jimmy, for having me here with you today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. It's amazing to have your recorded music out there again. We got kind of a little preview of that a couple of years ago when you released some tracks through Western AF, which I think were signaling some amazing things happening here in 2026. And first and foremost, I just want to say congratulations to having this new album out there.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm happy it's finally here in physical form. You know, it takes a long time to get your music recorded and all of that, but I'm just so happy it's here now.
It's such a great album, well worth the wait, and it just kind of goes to show you, especially artists releasing music independently. There's no timeline. There's no rhyme or reason sometimes. It just gets out there when you can. I remember our conversation, 5 years ago now with Ramble On and everything. Um, what a fantastic album. And of course, you'd been playing music for several years before that, but that was kind of like a big coming out party for you. When that got released, we were at the tail end of the pandemic period. That album was certainly not a pandemic album, certainly recorded before the whole process. And then now we have Signs. And I'd love to go ahead and hear, what's it been like this time around getting this amazing music out?
It's been different this time because in the past I've worked with teams of people that have helped me. And this time I really did a lot of the promotion and everything on my own. And it just showed me how much it takes to do this. And it made me really appreciate the people I've worked with in the past. But then, like I was saying to you a few minutes ago, it just really makes me appreciate people like you helping independent artists. And then even the listeners that are open to listening to musicians that are not on mainstream radio. Like it means a lot to us because we are real people. And it's just an interesting world we live in. Like, yeah, ever since COVID, I mean, things have really changed. And for me, they pushed me to go inside and to look inward. And that's where Signs kind of came from. Like at first, for a long, long time, I was searching for the answers and searching for love outside of myself in the world. I just wanted to be loved and accepted because I never really had felt that inside of me. And then, yeah, like my dad had passed away in 2022, and I just couldn't pretend anymore to feel okay. Because after I released Ramble On, I felt a lot of pressure to be perfect. People really liked my music, and I didn't know how to tour across the country because I didn't work with a tour manager, or agent, or anything. And a lot of relationships that meant a lot to me kind of started to disintegrate. And so when my dad had passed away, that was like kind of the final straw. And I decided to say kind of like, screw it. And I had saved a decent amount of money. And I traveled around the country on my Toyota Yaris, again, searching outside of myself for the answers. But I was able to meet a lot of people that held space for me during that time. And then to me, the key component was being out in nature, like going out west and having my mind be blown and expanded by the beauty that I was witnessing and the peace that I would experience. And so that's what Signs is kind of all about. It's just about like this journey outside and in. And I think we're all on it, whether we realize it or not.
Well said, and a lot to unpack there. But first of all, my condolences on your loss. Losing a parent is, one of those things that you just cannot prepare for, but it's like a universal experience that, a lot of us have and everything. I mean, I recently lost my mom not too long ago, and it's a wild ride. It's very sobering, and it's and honestly, like, not that I was not an adult before. I've been an adult for a while, but it certainly makes you it kind of like exemplifies that, and it really, really it grounds you in a lot of different ways, doesn't it?
Yes, and I'm sorry to hear about your mom's passing as well. And yeah, I never understood what it felt like to lose someone either until that happened. And it broke me open. It breaks you open, it humbles you, and it helps you see through a lot of the illusions that we're all caught in. And I guess the coolest thing from my dad's passing is realizing that he's always with me, but he's in my heart. And that, like, if I allow myself to be present and to listen, he'll send me signs. I don't know if you've received any signs from your mom, but it's just crazy how this all works. And for me, like, ever since my dad's passing, I've become kind of too like obsessed with listening to NDE stories, like listening to people who have like passed, but they come back and to just hear what it's really like on the other side and how it's not how we've been told. Because I thought that when we pass on to the other side, we're judged and condemned. And I was kind of worried about that for my dad because he had a hard life. And then when you hear the truth, it's like, wow, like it resonates because there's just so much more to being human than we realize, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the very spiritual nature of this album. I mean, you touch on several different topics. I mean, it's all within this kind of country and western landscape, and of course, your beautiful voice is so in tune to that amazing landscape, and I think that's what draws people in. But songwriting, I think, on this album is really, really fantastic. I mean, I think that comes with living some life and experiencing new things, putting yourself out there. Talk to us a little bit about the songwriting process, because it's certainly, in my humble opinion, your best work yet, and we're only two albums in.
Yeah, I think it's been about me going deeper. And I'm still like, I'm on the job. I don't know when this is going to end. Like, who knows? I don't think it ever really ends, but this album is deeper. It's deeper than Ramble On. Ramble On was, I guess I kind of fulfilled the expectations I had for myself because I had always idolized these classic country legends. And then I kind of like did the best I could to create my own version of that. But then this is kind of more of my own perspective on things. And yeah, a lot of the songs, I kind of feel like I have to live experiences to be able to write about them. And so, like I was saying, a lot of the songs were just about these experiences that I had on this journey. I had at this point in my life, I had nothing left to lose. I mean, I was waking up like during that period I was telling you, like following my dad's passing and like things really ending for me with other people in my life. Like I was waking up not wanting to be here, so I had nothing left to lose. And I think when you reach that point in life, if you let go of the steering wheel and allow what is meant to you to unfold, you're gonna tap into, I feel like, this magical realm. I don't know how to explain it really. It's something that you feel. And when you just start to believe in the signs, like I keep saying, but when you start to believe in the messages that you're receiving, you're being guided and brought places that your mind never would have taken you. And so that's basically kind of like what happened with me a lot with that record. Cause like, I mean, there's this one point where I was in Los Angeles visiting a friend and I went on a like hike and I saw a couple of people in the distance riding horses. And so when I was a kid, was blessed to be able to ride horses. That was something else that was a freak thing. Like I never thought I could ride horses or afford that because it is kind of expensive to be able to do that. But a friend of mine had a daughter that had horses, so I got to ride at her farm. And then I hadn't talked to her in a while, but she moved to Alaska and she kept telling me to come visit her. And I was stuck in traffic on a highway in LA. I was the only like Rhode Island license plate. I'm looking around, it's surrounded by California license plates. And she calls me and she tells me to come and go on a trail ride with her in Alaska. So because of this, I said, well, I think this must be some type of sign, like I'm gonna go to Alaska. And then when I went to Alaska, I met this girl there named Mia, and through her, I ended up meeting someone in Montana. And then again, all of these things would continue to unfold. I would continue to be guided to people that would give me messages that I needed to hear. Because, too, when you're going through these periods, when you lose someone, when you lose a job, when you lose your best friend, when you lose a relationship or a partner that really mattered to you, you don't know who you are anymore. And sometimes the reflections that you see at this point, they're not very good because I think that all of us are made up of like light and shadows. And to me, the biggest part of my journey has been facing my shadows and learning how to love them and to face them. And the more that I've done this, the more that I've seen it like basically trickle out into my life. And my life is changing because of this. And now I feel like I'm losing track on where I was going. But bottom line is just keep listening to your heart and like let life unfold for you and know that you're here for a reason. And I feel like it just keeps getting better every day. Like now that I'm on this path that I'm on, I'm just going to say this one thing and then I'm going to stop talking. But basically, for so long, I just wanted to reach these external goals, and it's not about that, you know? And I think when you lose a parent, you really start to wake up to this.
Well said. I mean, so much to unpack there, and I love this idea because again, it's one of the themes of the album. I mean, you have a lot of this stuff documented in tracks like Montana and Aspens in Alaska and all these amazing. It's great how you're able to go ahead and in a way. Well, you were literally gridlock traffic, so you were stopped. But I guess the metaphor is like to slow down and listen to the signs, and it's there if you decide to go ahead and actually listen and take a look. And I'm so glad that you took the time to go ahead and do that because again, real life touring and recorded music are all three different things. And the process for each of them is insanely different. Ramble On came out in 21. That album, your first, amazingly received and obviously recorded before the pandemic. Signs, a collection of songs that seem to have started in that pandemic period. Maybe some of the material recorded a little bit after that as well. Um, when did you realize that you had enough material that you wanted to go ahead and get a second album down? Because the first album sometimes is a lot easier because you have a collection of songs. Sometimes it's a survey of your best work up until that point. But the second album is tough because, in a lot of ways, you're starting from scratch. You may have some leftover tracks from like the first initial batch of songs, but in large part, this kind of like defines who you are in a lot of different ways. And Science has certainly lived up to such an amazing follow-up to Ramble On. When did you realize, hey, I've got something to say and I'm gonna go ahead and put out another album?
So after traveling around the country, I spent some time writing. I was staying with a friend of mine that lives outside of Nashville in Ashland City. And so I was able to integrate and like process what I was experiencing there. So I wrote like some of the songs on the album there. But then I had to come back. I ended up coming back home to Rhode Island and I had to, like you said, I had to go back into waitressing and I had to face the music because like all the money I had saved, like I didn't have much left. So I had to go back into doing what I was doing before. And I kind of like life made this record happen because I had started working with a local band named These Wild Plains when I had went through this point where like the past guitar player and I that we played with, like I played with him all the time. That relationship had kind of ended, like I said, around the same time as my dad's death. And so I was just playing by myself. But this band kept reaching out to me. And so I started playing with them. We went on like a little tour down south. And then the band leader, Ben, kept like making comments how like we should put music together. We needed to like record an album. And then I remember we practiced. It was just random because it was like the equinox. We ended up having this practice. It was like in September, and we I showed them my songs, and it just all came together. And like I still sometimes like to listen to that recording because we recorded it, and it just felt so good. And the way that they played my songs, like I couldn't imagine them being like this. Because I feel like my songs are like my kids. Like I don't have any kids, but to me that they're like my children, and I want to see them grow up. It's one thing when you write a song, it's like, ooh, my a child is born. But then when you see uh that song become it kind of like it becomes an adult when you record it with the band. But that all happened naturally. Like I can't like it just I again I kind of surrendered because for a while too, like after I'd put out Ramble On, everybody's like, when are you putting out new music? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? And it's like, I don't know, I'm struggling. I'm trying to figure out like why I'm here.
Hmm.
Because I thought that if I put out Ramble On and people liked it, then I would be happy inside, but it was like I had to face some stuff going on deep down. So I didn't know. And then like, yeah, I just surrendered. And then this is kind of how this unfolded. And it was even like ironic that we also recorded this record, but then it took like a year to mix it, which I've never had happen before. But it was like, okay, I'm just going to surrender again to this process and allow it to unfold the way it's supposed to. And then, yeah, like now Signs is here. I'm really, really proud of it. And yeah, now it's like, okay, now I have to start writing again, but I'm just going to let the stuff come to me. And when I know I'm supposed to put out new music, I will. But yeah, there is still definitely pressure when you put new music out. It's like, can you do this again? Will you do this again? And I think for me personally, if I just let go of those ideas and I just, like I was saying, focus on doing the stuff that makes me feel good inside, I will be able to put out new music. But to me, it's also kind of like weird. I feel like it comes from this other part of myself, these songs, and it's sometimes I feel like they're messages for me to listen to and remember because sometimes I don't practice what I preach. Sometimes I do get stuck in traffic and I feel angry and I want to like flip someone off. Like this is just how it is here. But if I listen to some of the songs on my album, they help me come back and remember like who I truly am and what I want to continue to focus on within my beingness.
Hey,
Oh
it's
God.
real life. And to let our audience know, we are speaking with Charlie Marie. We're talking about her amazing album here in 2026. It's called Signs. It's 11 amazing tracks and several singles you can find pretty much everywhere. One of the places you could pick up this amazing album, physical copy, digital copy, is Charlie's Bandcamp, charliemarie.bandcamp.com. And you could find out everything about Charlie on her website at charliemariemusic.com, as well as follow her on the socials. And if she's going to be in your neck of the woods. And one of the amazing things, Charlie, is that uh, in this kind of journey of like you creating this album, the time period between Ramble On and of course Signs, a lot of people, including myself, have been listening to your music. It's one of those things. The world is weird and crazy, and that's a whole other discussion there. But it just kind of speaks to artists that you really like. At least for me, because everything is so diluted now, because there's so many entrants and there's so much music, and the expectation for a lot of people is that it's free and accessible, and it's just so wild. Is this like notion of like being available all the time online? It's completely ridiculous because no one operates like that. But the thing is that it seems like at least those that are, I guess releasing music at a pretty high clip and touring around and everything, they're just in our lives all the time, which is like it doesn't make any sense, but they are. And it just kind of speaks to like the way this landscape is on music. How have you been kind of dealing with that as being kind of like a weird byproduct of the way people consume music? Because again, those of us that have loved your music have been waiting and listening to the old album and listening to your other things that you've released as well. But what's it been like, kind of like reintegrating the new tracks, the new album, and then just kind of getting out there again? It has been a pretty wild ride too.
Yeah, I think that's just like you said, the terrain of being an artist because I have a lot of tools in my toolbox now, but I'm not going to lie, when I put out signs, I felt a lot of pressure again. I think it's just like you can feel the attention on you. Um, and so for me, how I've been counterbalancing this is gratitude because I'm so happy that people are giving me their attention and that they're listening to my music and they're ordering like my music online, and I get to do like I personally write little notes to the people that support me, and I wrap all their packages. And it's for sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming at first when you see the long list, but I'm very grateful for everyone and anyone who is taking the time to listen to my message. Like, thank you very much. But what I have to do is I have to ground. And so what that is for me is going to the ocean, going to a lake, laying in the grass, taking my dogs for a walk, not looking at my phone, not posting on social media like everyone said I should or says I should. And sometimes I'm like, maybe that's why my career isn't at the level of some people's, but oh well, I'm just going to keep doing what serves me. And I feel like the opportunities that are meant for me will come to me. But yeah, I just do the things that I have to do to take care of myself because that is my number one priority. If I don't show up the way I want to be, then like what's the point of doing any of this? Because like it isn't easy always like singing and stuff. Some days I don't feel like singing, but then when I get there, I'm like, oh no, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like this is why I'm here. But again, like if I probably didn't meditate for 10 minutes in the morning or I didn't like do any of these things like I mentioned that help ground me, like I would go back to that place where would be waking up not wanting to be here. So it's like I have to make sure that I'm honoring my inner self, but I also have to realize that the whole point of being here too is to serve. Because I just want to help people, like, because I know how hard it is being here, and like I just want to try to, yeah, remind people that what they're searching for is already within them. Like people like me, and there's plenty of people out there that can help you and hold space. But like, you're your own hero, man. Like you are. Believe in yourself.
Very much so. And here's kind of a little bit of a byproduct of, that experience. Kind of a two-part question, somewhat loosely related, but were you surprised at the hunger that people had for recorded music when you started dropping singles and, of course, the eventual album release? And also, too, first, congratulations, a placement on the Dutton Ranch series and everything. What was it like to go ahead and have that placement and kind of coincide with everything that you're going through with the release of Signs? It's got to feel at least somewhat fantastic, right?
It feels kind of like unbelievable because something else that I went through this year is I feel like as you start to wake up to yourself, you go through initiations. And so I have been waitressing a lot on the side. And I finally decided in the winter that I was going to quit waitressing. And then I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to get a new job. And I will get like messages sometimes in dreams. And so I had this really bad dream. And I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to go back into waitressing. So then I decided that I was going to focus on music this year. But then, like, I also, again, you go through this initiation because you're losing a part of yourself, an identity, a place of like, because we all know that we have to have money to survive here. So I went through this period where I was waking up in the middle of the night, feeling like I was being burned alive by fear. So that was just kind of frustrating, but I kept like faith. I kept my faith strong, and I do believe in like praying. It doesn't like whatever you believe in, Jesus, Buddha, it doesn't matter. I feel like it's all the same thing. But I would just was praying for support, and then I actually had an email from Ransom Canyon that they were going to put a one of my songs, basically Countryside, on an episode, which is going to be coming out July 23rd. So it's going to be on episode one of Ransom Canyon. And so then that was the first time I had ever gotten an actual placement. And then a couple months later, I went through this experience where I had to max out a credit card, which I've never done in my entire life. But again, when you're on this journey, you have to trust, you have to believe, you have to let go of like a lot of the programming that is in your subconscious mind. Mine's been a lot around feeling secure with having a certain amount of money, but I had to face it because I wanted to make sure I had vinyls for this record. So I had to charge that. And then again, now I had to fix my car and basically max out a credit card. So I felt very defeated and I prayed about it. And it was just really ironic because a show I was supposed to have that weekend got canceled and then a new show appeared, which gave me way more abundance than the original one, which was just funny. And I felt really elated from that show. And on my way home, I never answer phone calls from people I don't recognize the number by. And I decided to say, screw it. And I answered the phone, and it was the woman from Dutton Ranch asking me if, I wanted to allow a certain song, Ramble On their show. And I was like, this is unbelievable. I can't believe that this is happening, but I really believe this is all happening because of the work I've done inside. I know people don't get this, and it's very weird. And it hasn't been until very recently that I've been reaping the rewards of years and years of inner work. Like in 2022 was when I had these crazy. I had some like experiences on psychedelics, and that is what like took this into the next gear, and that's what my life has been focused on is inner work and essentially like music. And because of that, now I am reaping the rewards. But if anyone wants to see their outer exterior shift and change, you have to go inside and you have to begin looking within yourself.
Well said. And I am so happy that, again, this is all kind of like on this particular album cycle. Reason being is because, the first one was a really weird time. I mean, these are weird times now, but the
Yeah.
first time we were just coming out of the pandemic. And then now there's been a few years. You've lived a lot of life, you've had a lot of experiences. And it feels like the hard work that you had in the past, and of course, all the hard work that you've done right now, it's all coming to fruition. That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's been really wild. And like the key for me is to be grounded because I definitely will feel like when these things happen, it's unbelievable to see underneath them. Because like when I woke up early to watch that episode and I was so excited and I like watched it 3 times. And it was just such a weird feeling to feel like, wow, this has really happened. Because like you said, for me, it's just been so I can't even explain it. Like that's so crazy, that this is happening. And right around the time that I'm putting out signs, it's like, and this is why like I didn't control any of this. Like people will email me other like artists and be like, "How did you get your music on that show?" I'm like, "I don't know." I'm like, I just say inner work. It's like I don't know. And I don't know what's going to happen next. Like I was saying, I just want to continue to serve and I just want to continue to try and live from my heart as much as possible because that's like been the key for me is like learning how to connect to my heart and feel like love inside of my heart because it's deeper than the experiences that we have out in like the outside world. I know I keep mentioning these things, but it's just from my experience. That's why I bring it up.
Yeah, and again, I love the fact that like there's a certain amount of people that have been listening to you since Ramble On, even before that. And then, of course, you never left the consciousness of like, people out there that have absolutely loved your music, and having signs here in 2026 just kind of brings all of your material, back into play and everything. And I love the fact that you honestly, that's the way it should happen. You got a phone call to go ahead and see if you'd like this placement, and it worked out. That's fantastic, as opposed to trying to kind of game the system or anything like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just been really, really cool. And yeah, to even have people like still want to hear my music because I kind of haven't kind of fell off the radar for a while. It just makes you realize that whatever your calling is, like that's what you're here to do. And you just have to keep listening and showing up and let go of expectations. And again, just let the journey unfold for you because it's going to be a lot better than your mind imagined anyway.
Very, very much so. And to let our audience know, we are speaking with Charlie Marie. We're talking about her amazing album Signs here in 2026. It's 11 amazing tracks and several singles we've been playing here on Nola County Radio. It's available everywhere now. One of those places you could pick it up is her Bandcamp, charliemarie.bandcamp.com. And you could find out everything Charlie Marie there on her website, charliemarimusic.com. And I'd love to go ahead and ask you, Charlie, what are some of the things you're looking forward to, kind of like going into maybe later this year, maybe the fall? Is something that you're looking forward to? Anything on the horizon you could share with us?
Uh, I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I did apply for Americana Fest. I don't know if I'm going to get in. We will see. I don't know. I have no idea. But that would probably be the only thing like that's, really different other than like for me, I'm focusing on playing in New England right now. Last summer I had the opportunity to play in Scandinavia. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really hoping that this record allows for some opportunities to play out west that like logistically makes sense because I'm not gonna lie, I miss the deserts. I miss the mountains. And I love being here in Rhode Island near the ocean. But man, I just miss like traveling the US. The United States is a beautiful place and I just hope that I get to go out west at some point again. But yeah, I don't know. It's a mystery. I'm not sure what's gonna unfold. I'm just really happy again to like be here and to be having this conversation with you. I just really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely my pleasure. And I have no doubt that you're going to be doing quite a bit of traveling within this album cycle and of course for years to come and everything. And hopefully one of these days, maybe not right now, because right now it's hot, but getting down further south to New Orleans would be really fantastic.
Yeah, I've never been there before, so that would be really cool. Somebody was actually talking about it the other day and how great it was. So yeah, maybe that's the next one of the next places I have to visit.
Well, I'm happy to be a resource anytime and every time. And I really hope that one of these days you get down here. Our sweet spot is generally from November to about April. So
Okay.
that's definitely when you want to be here. Otherwise, it's just summer and it's
Yeah.
brutal.
Okay.
And with that, Charlie, thank you so much for being my guest here on Nola County Radio. It's absolutely fantastic that, of course, you have new music out there, but I'm really happy to go ahead and connect with you again and talk about everything you've been up to because you've been on in a lot of people's thoughts for the last few years, and it's great to go ahead and have everything resurface with this amazing album here in 2026.
Thanks again, Jimmy. Yeah, it's just a wild ride.
Absolutely. And you take care of you and yours when the time comes, safe travels, and hopefully we will see you soon.
Yes, see you soon.
That was great. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
No problem. Thank you. I kind of went in really deep, but I just am a deep kid. This is what I want to talk about now. So I just like talking about this. And thanks again for holding space. It was really cool to have this conversation with you. It was really nice.
Absolutely.